A pink-haired, people-biting cave freak stars in a game which bears his name, Toomba. This cave dude makes Joe and Mac look like Wall Street execs. Bottom line, Tasmania is easy to beat with stage select. Hartman is the voice of Blasto, yet another wisecracking hero like Bubsy, Gex, Toomba, and Rincewind. You might need therapy to get through the experience of playing Jeremy McGrath's Supercross 98. Towball number 1 is a shockingly inferior game. There, we've said it. This game makes Doom look like silly putty. I have no idea what that means, but hey. Years ago, we used to constantly complain that games weren't hard enough. Now, we constantly moan about games that are just plain impossible. If any of you out there don't go see this movie just because you don't want to sit in the theater for 3 hours, well, I hope you die a slow and painful death over exactly 3 hours. Obviously, the tricks are harder to master, but Nintendo deserves a big fat kiss. Stick next to him as if he were your Siamese twin and jump up and bop him repeatedly. FIFA Soccer is a dinosaur of a game, and we mean that in a bad way. You'll beat this game in a week tops if you play a lot every day. Nevertheless, you have to play this game, so rent it, have a ball playing it, beat it, and return it. The reward for all your hard work, well, if you use these codes you didn't work hard, but anyway, Donkey Kong Country is truly perfect. If you do not get this amazing new generation of Donkey Kong madness, you are stupid. Yes, I know, that's insulting, but it's also the truth. But it just makes us wonder why people actually spend $80 to beat a bunch of sprites into the ground when they can do it for free on a real live human being. The Create a Player mode is awesome. The players change size, stance, skin color, national origin, the size of their underwear, well, not really their underwear. This feature might as well have it though, it has everything else. After you beat the final boss, you'll get a big kiss. Uh-oh, you've been tricked. Don't let him get away with it. Reaching the finish line first, I mean, come on, folks. If you want to drive, just go to work. This type of gameplay is just too simple to attract today's kids. But hey, old farts like me might like it. Piss or no piss. Collecting stars helps you stay alive. So even though the task is boring, do it anyway. You can check out the elevator if you're too much of a lazy bum to climb the stairs. I can relate. I'm so lazy that to avoid walking, I have a special car seat that detaches and rolls into the studio, planting me in front of the desk on our pathetic set. After taping, a trapdoor opens up and I'm thrust into the depths of the basement of this old, disgusting, roach-infested building. Just kidding. It seems as though the battle between the Nintendo 64 and PlayStation will be directly related to players' choices between Super Mario 64 and Resident Evil. Shadowrun didn't get the respect it deserved because Secret of Mana stole the limelight. Newsflash, Shadowrun is better. What makes Arrow so special is that he has all sorts of fun and entertaining activities. If you've ever wanted to go bungee jumping in real life but never did, you can simulate the activity in this video game. Arrow is Sunsoft's new mascot, thus you can expect some Arrow sequels in the future. The lighting is oh so gorgeous. You'll need a bib to catch the drool from admiring the landscapes. Our reviews for these games will be fairly short. The reason? You guessed it. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Or in our case, just get in a few digs and run for the hills. Final Fantasy III. Get it or die. Our last note regarding this game is about the bungee jumping scene. Look at this. It looks like he's jumping without a rope. To make matters worse, the camera is all screwed up. He jumps. He jumps again, from a different angle. What the heck? Is this some new funky directing style or what? Earthbound comes packed with a load of hints if you need them. Earthbound is an easy RPG, but Nintendo wanted the game to be easy so it provide constant, uninterrupted fun. Earthbound has so many comic elements to it that Nintendo doesn't want you to give up on the game and never see those funny scenes. Now is when the game really picks up. There's a singing robot. Yes, a singing robot. This game could turn you into a lunatic. You'll get pretty far, but winning, well, good luck. These games are supposed to be fun first and simulation second. Where's the creativity? Why not have a game where you have to find and drive to the hospital before your wife delivers her baby? Now that would be fun. Rather than compete against other racers, you'd have to avoid getting arrested by keeping below the speed limit, obeying the right-of-way laws, and not tailgating. Any foul up and the cops will pull you over. The best part is that you don't know how to get to your location. You have to read the road signs and hope you explore in the right direction. This popular children's game is, ironically, too hard for young players. Mario doesn't require you to solve impossible puzzles to win the game, but Evil has you solve tons of them. Actually, you won't solve tons of them. The game is virtually impossible without the hint book. Final Doom from Williams is a game that chews you up and spits you out. The opening sequence introduces you to each of the drivers. One scene will make you laugh unexpectedly. The camera will catch Princess Jean in the shower. As a result, the feisty gal will punch out the lens of the camera. Isn't that a hoot? If you don't play this game, you're not a true gamer. The best part of the game is not even in the game. It's the handy cheat sheet that comes inside. No more keeping out the instruction booklet. Example, you can select the stadium in which to play the game, and more importantly, select the type of weather, rain, snow, etc. With this feature, you can actually make it snow in Southern California. What a hoot! Quest 64 is the first role-playing game for the software-deprived N64. In the two-player mode, you will find more intense action than even Contra 3. The boss of this level could buy his clothes at a big and tall men's store. Don't even rent this game. Don't even look at it. At a level where you try to hit people with tomatoes. Naughty Bart. Hidden in the instruction booklet is a password that gives you all of the game's weapons. But even with that little gem, you will fail miserably.
Milo's Astro Lanes? Bowling for aliens.
Nothing can eclipse the fact that this game blows like a toupee in a convertible. Okay, now we're talking gibberish, but this game could be the worst game of the year. Only Mortal Kombat mythologies can compete on such a derelict level. Ugh! Pass me a bucket before I you-know-what. We made a green alien and put him on the Chicago Bulls with Dennis Rodman. It sure was easy to spot him on the court, and we're not talking about Rodman. Then again, I could understand why you would mix them up. They're both aliens in their own ways.
Thankfully, Midway did not update the sound effects, so bopping birds with your bird butt won't feel any different than it did 10 years ago. What a joy!
We're going to make this review quick to avoid embarrassment. Yes, we're giving the Spice World a good review, even though we hate the Spice Girls. Let's start with Bust a Groove, which might as well be called Parappa the Rapper too. Speaking of Pleasure Island, if you've ever been there in Disney World, you'll get a kick out of what goes on there at night. Hello, Dolly. It's kind of weird having more fun playing this unknown mace fighter than playing the latest Mortal Kombat. But then again, Mortal Kombat's never been our cup of blood. So what do you think Super Mario RPG is about? Saving the princess? Wrong. Bowser does kidnap the famous lady of video games. The bottom line is, unlike Crash Bandicoot 2, Castlevania does not take old-school gameplay and put it in a flattering 3D format. Instead, Castlevania just creates more of the same, but enjoyable more of the same. Upon his defeat, Will meet his end in whatever that thing is in the middle of the temple. His body will cause whatever that thing is to have a cow, essentially a stomachache. As in many other games of this type, you can perform tricks to earn points, but that's kind of pointless. No pun intended. Super Mario Kart, poor ending. As if that weren't annoying enough. When you try to do whatever to whatever and you can't, Miette whines,
I can't manage it.
Or,
I don't think I can manage it.
come on girl, get yourself together and manage. These nifty bonuses can only be accessed if you beat the game in every mode on the expert level. In other words, forget about it. Mortal Kombat. Dumb ending ceremonies make the fighting pointless. Then again, the fighting's pointless anyway. DKC2's music is nowhere near as ear-catching as the original soundtrack. Walking around is awkward in tight spaces, especially with dead bodies on the floor. Don't mess with the princess. She doesn't like to play games. But we like to play this one. Repeat this process with the little toy robot, then do the same for Rex, the wimpy but lovable green dinosaur. Hey, at least he isn't Barney.
Way to go, EA Sports.
This game has load times so long that you could have 3 children by the time a single level loads. You have to grow a mushroom just to jump to higher places. Hello? Ants can crawl anywhere. They don't need mushroom trampolines. Besides, when was the last time you saw an ant as big as a mushroom? Granted, realism is not required in a video game, but when the frustrating control has you fumbling around, uprooting and moving various plants, you just have to ask yourself why. To us, this whole seed plant business seems like it was thrown in to cover up the game's simplicity. With a little more effort, this could have been a great game. The first step to beating this game is to get the Super Metroid Player's Guide from Nintendo. Less positive are the game's overbearing controls, non-original levels, irritating music, and cheery childishness. Another thing that bugs us is that the game, while touted as 2.5D, is no more beyond 2 dimensions than Super Mario World 2. In short, we'd rather play the original Super Mario Bros. On the 8-bit Nintendo than Yoshi's Story.
The lowlights are, of course, the dumb endings and seemingly slow controls. Many of the same problems plague Bloody Roar 2, so we'll just move on to Mortal Kombat 4.
Pac-Man's first order of business is to find Pac-Baby's milk bottle. Ms. Pac-Man, the demanding wife, will scold you if you come back without doing what she asked. We pity all those gamers out there who find themselves frustrated with Banjo-Kazooie. We know the feeling. EA Sports seems to be the only company that has instant replay.
0-1.
We, for one, like that feature, but no one else does. Oh well, you win some and you lose some.
Like Crash Bandicoot 2, the snow level is where the game really shines. Reflections in the ice, beautiful color texturing, and near-zero polygon loss result in a shimmering graphical experience. Okay, maybe we're going a little overboard, but who cares?
In one house, you will find a mysterious black box that won't open until later in the game. Weird. Gran Turismo is yet another racing joke, despite the very cool simulation mode with car dealerships and even a car wash. Every single racing game released is hyped for its realistic vehicle physics, and as usual, the car controls stink. I don't care what kind of car you're driving. If you're going 60 miles an hour, you should not skid into the next lane on a slight turn. How on earth is that realistic? No one can argue that point. Toomba still resorts to biting his foes. We have nothing against biting, unless your first name is Monica, but come on, biting your enemies? Give us a break. Never has a racing game been such a guilty pleasure. Busting things is fun to do anyway, even if it's just a question mark block from Super Mario Bros. This game is a true standout, and those cinemas, they're destined for gold. Yum, yum, yum. We want more, Namco. Klonoa gets a very high recommendation. Armored Armadillo is cool. He'd be cooler if he was Beaverman, though. Imagine his tail attack. Anyway, that's just a thought.
Micro Machines 64 Turbo. Steering is weird. Graphics too simple. One of the best games of 1999 is Siphon Filter from 989 Studios. This GoldenEye killer packs more action and suspense than any other game in recent memory. In Heart of Darkness, though, once you die, you pick up right where you left off. So what's the point of dying, you ask? Well, it's fun to see how many ways you can bite the dust, get crunched by fossil jaws, swallowed by wild plants. The list is endless. Tarzan. This superhero isn't much better.
You've won the game, and now the credits must roll. Try beating the game on the hard mode to get a really cool ending. We bet you can't do it. The game is easier if you manage not to confuse him or get him into dangerous situations with dogs, cats, hens, bees, ghosts, or skateboards. Your name is Chrono, and the game begins with Mom waking you up. This is appropriate since many kids need bombs to get themselves out of bed in the morning. In fact, some of us still do. The control sucks. The challenge sucks. The gameplay sucks, and therefore, Spawn sucks. This game hurts the Spawn empire. It makes Spawn look stupid. Sony should be shot for this one, folks, and Spawn creator Todd McFarlane should have had a little more say in the game's production, even if it means handing over the reins to someone who can actually play a game. The music also adds a lot to the game. Play it loud and stereo, dude! This type of unique gameplay makes for a truly immersive, realistic, and down-to-earth experience. Hey, why don't they have clips of our show on these CDs? There's another novel idea. If I do say so myself. Star Fox, you can win fairly easily by cheating. Prolific game publisher Psygnosis churns out yet another roving shoot-'em-up with Shadow Master. You've seen it all before. Overly active analog control. Stupid enemies that never break a sweat and just stroll leisurely toward you while you shoot at them. A primary weapon and a secondary weapon. Whoop-de-freaking-la-di-da! After the credits roll, the stork lands at a place that looks like Whoville from The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. We all want the best games there are. We all want games that give Hollywood a run for its money. Maybe, as video games become more mainstream, companies will be able to afford to lower their software prices in an effort to attract even more buyers. Now that's virtual reality. The game is very challenging, making it a very reliable title. If you play video games at all, you must get Shadowrun. All you need do is warp there. Its only faults are length, only 6 racing courses, and the lack of chasmic jumps. Chasmic may not be a real word, but it should be. We want huge, imaginative jumps that keep you airborne for 10 seconds. Is it realistic? Heck no! But realism is getting boring in video games. Twisted Metal 2 from Sony banks on the very essence of James Bond. Castlevania Symphony of the Night is a pretty decent game. You won't not like it, but it won't make you sing out loud either. Then again, no game does that. As you can see, all the characters from Killer Instinct 2 for the arcade are here in this home version. Each character has enough moves, combos, linkers, special attacks, finishers, and God knows what else to kill somebody. Literally. Resident Evil 2, on the whole, is an excellent game that no one should be without. It's no Tomb Raider, but we shouldn't expect it to be either. Make no mistake about it, Twister's a 4-star movie, better than Jurassic Park.
NBA Jam 99, Jam turned sim.
And that announcer, ugh, somebody shoot that dweeb. He's one of those guys with slow motion syntax and overdrawn emotions, saying things like, way cool, man. Totally rockin', man. Whoa, I thought you were history. And are you tripping out or what? Sometimes you wish the goal of the game were to hunt that wiener down and kill him. Oh, let's get back to the infuriating qualities. I almost forgot. Iggy's Wreckin' Balls. Now that's a quirky title. It's like turning Mario into a sports game, or turning Bomberman into a one-player game. You just don't do it. Speaking of pink, purple, the librarian in the game has got to be related to Barney. Listen to him.
Oh, Sir Musashi, been waiting for you.
Then again, maybe pink is the appropriate color for this guy. Maybe he can see if Barney's looking for a good time. A ride on a tiger sounds like a lot of fun. Well, it is. Of course, you don't have to fall into either category, but it's our opinion that if you don't, you're wasting money. And you know what you can do with that opinion if you don't agree with it. NBA Hang Cosplay and Normal. The game's appeal is of the same high quality as Bubsy. Both games feature outstanding action. Plot can do so many things that perhaps the phrase jack of all trades should be changed to plock of all trades. I've seen that before. Rage Racer gets 2 C's and a B. If you don't like it, tough. Is the game worth buying? Well, yeah, well, maybe. This is a tricky one. Porky's now going to help you with Marvin. Uh-oh, the Instant Martians now have Porky. Watch out, Daffy. Get those Instant Martians.
Mother.
Oh, man, here comes Marvin again. Look at Porky and get him. Oh, more Instant Martians. Run, run, run. Oh. Gotcha, Marvin. We tried. We really tried, but we just could not get into Carnage Heart. Immersive, this game is not. Final Fantasy VII is far from the near masterpiece that game critics and fans have been calling it. Samus's mission will be tough, but a woman's gotta do what a woman's gotta do. You still get an ending with low difficulty, and as far as we know, the ending does not change along with the difficulty. The ending is pretty stupid. It reflects the lack of emphasis on cinematic sequences in the game. There are very few cinematic sequences, and even those scenes constitute only the camera swooping around the landscape of a new level. In the ending, Bond escapes in a helicopter, and then we see him kissing Natalia in the jungle. She goes, "Ooh, James," and the credits roll. Whoop-de-doo. The game itself suffers from horrible Resident Evil-like play control and, well, a lack of action. There may be action in the plot, but who gives a hoot about the plot when the game has such incredibly static backgrounds? It was a nice try, but for some reason, we get the feeling that anyone who plays this game will either say to themselves, "Why did I buy this game?" or "I'm glad I just rented it." Namco Museum Volume 5 is, a collection of 5 classic older-than-dirt Namco games from the 70s and 80s. It even comes with a special CD that includes 70s and 80s songs, exhibitions of 70s and 80s clothes, and 70s and 80s pixel dust. There we go again, lies, all lies. There is no CD, folks, but the game does include a kinky, kinda cool gallery, which is fun to explore for a few minutes. Demon's Crest, easy to beat, or is it? The game is way too short, only about 9 hours, and you can breeze through it by going to www.parasiteeve.com/walk.htm. There, you can print out a complete walkthrough. You might get so mad at Toy Story that you may want to slam Doom into your Super NES and take out your anger by shooting a bunch of evil aliens. Then again, Doom is an extremely difficult game, so it might just make the problem worse.
MLB 2000. Or is it MLB 99? Who can tell?
Super Star Wars, a classic for the Super NES, but easy to beat with a code. Super Empire Strikes Back, same thing. The poop sheet we got on this game made it sound like God's gift to the PlayStation. Well, we can't comment on that without violating FCC regulations, so that's the end of that review. Together, these 3 games are worth half a bucket of spit, or any other bodily fluid. Earthworm Jim is a nutty character, a plain old earthworm that becomes a superhero earthworm with an attitude, thanks to the powers of a mysterious spacesuit. The premise may remind you of The Mask. In fact, with Jim as the earthworm's name, you can't help but wonder if this slimy hero was named after Jim Carrey, who portrayed The Mask in 1994. The 2 characters have many parallels: an article of clothing that gives superhero powers, a wacky sense of humor, outrageous voices, and the flexibility of silly putty. If only they knew these kids would grow up to be plumbers. Superhero plumbers, that is. Pocky and Rocky. 2 players can beat this game together if they don't kill each other first. You can't win Toy Story without cheating, and this cheating brings victory much too quickly to warrant spending your money. People don't spend $60 on a game they know they can beat. With that in mind, one wonders why companies release game codes and stage selects. Video game buying has become too much of a game. No pun intended. The game is about finding a game that's not too hard, but not by any means easy. Codes and other cheats make games easy and not worth buying. Nintendo needs to stop calling everything in adventure mode, especially when the game is about as adventurous as a trip to Kmart.
Also, swimming controls are way too fancy and cumbersome for their own good. The control isn't bad, perhaps not even awkward, but you'll wish you could use the 4 geometric buttons to control items instead of the right thumbstick, like in Zelda.
The 60s music can cause brain aneurysms. Ugh! I can't go on. City of Lost Children is based on a French film of the same name. In today's highly commercial interactive entertainment industry, it is quite a shock to see something that could be considered art.
NHL Breakaway 99, or is it 98? Who can tell?
Resident Evil 2 is a horror game, not intended for those under 17. Realistically though, your teenagers will be playing it no matter what you say. Just get over it. This is the age of South Park. We don't like South Park, but we do like Resident Evil 2. Our last game of the day is Squaresoft's Xenogears. To enjoy this game, you'll have to overcome the shoddy graphics. The first town has a very dull color scheme, not to mention the dull townsfolk who like to yammer on in endless conversations. You can't even stop a conversation once you've started it. You're forced to sit there and listen. Sometimes the only way to advance the game is to talk to every person you can. There goes Tomater, action-thriving men. Yes, we're talking about Tim Taylor, grunt out loud to show your manhood type of men. Batman Forever will be one of the biggest games of the year. If you're standing still and you swing your whip, you can't jump until the whip has come all the way back to you. Now that's ridiculous, folks. Ridiculous and frustrating. I mean, really, that is one annoying flaw. So much for realism. This title should be a refreshing change in the style for Mega Man. Obviously, this game will be more exciting than Mega Man X4, but X4 should still be released. The game has about as much depth as one of my gray hairs.
Silent Hill can also be tossed on the fire, but this one isn't nearly as bad. Many of you will like this game, but for us, it didn't come anywhere near Resident Evil 2. The quality of the full motion video faces is stunning, but the in-game graphics leave a lot to be desired.
Whoa! Mode 7! Look at those clouds! Cool Spot could very well be the next classic video game, combining unbelievable fun with graphic and play control excellence. The scrolling speed is comparable to real-life walking speed. If you think our games are bad, then you wouldn't believe the violence in Japanese games. Some games are never released over here for that exact reason. When the N64 finally comes out in September, hold on for dear life. You're going to be on quite a ride. For inspiration, creator and artist Ed Beard used a real person for one of the most rare and powerful cards. The Cosmic Adjudicator appears in only one of every 9 packs of cards. He's a supreme being whose powers are awesome.
And the best puzzle game of 1999, as of September 4th, 1999, Magical Tetris Challenge.
Earthbound, wacky and wild, horrible graphics, annoying battles, and endless corny text. What are the ingredients for the ultimate racing game? Take a car, airplane, and hovercraft and stir vigorously with Super Mario 64 style graphics. Fold in a world-famous video game character named Diddy Kong, plus some appealing wannabes. Sprinkle in the overly sensational marketing term real-time dynamic animation. And finally, shake generously with a good old rumble pack. Oh, and one more thing. Top it off with a blue, clue-dispensing elephant genie who hails from India. But you'll still get quite a taste of action-adventure as you trash each and every landscape. So much for Earth Day.
NFL Blitz for Game Boy, played by Neanderthals everywhere. 720 Degrees for Game Boy, played by suicidal Neanderthals everywhere.
The bonus level is so cool because you'll feel like you're ice skating and bumper carring. This is still a screen-scrolling fighting game. In Super Mario 64, you can do just about anything. It is, in fact, like jumping into the movie Toy Story. Kicks and punches are not divided into fierceness levels, but rather the height of the attack. What is the significance of this? Well, none really. In fact, what's the significance of the entire game? Well, none really. What's the significance of the entire fighting genre? Well, none really. Sony apparently doesn't mind embarrassing itself with the release of Tale of the Sun. All of the courses are poorly designed and very boring, leaving little left to speak good of. There is just one highlight. The narrator from last year isn't as tripped up on saying the word cool like a surfer dude 12 million times in a row. One question still remains. Why didn't Disney Interactive use Silicon Graphics computers for the entire game? Were they too expensive? I don't think so. Come on, Big Disney is one of the richest corporations in the country. Let's get real here. The only explanation we can think of is that Disney Interactive did not use SGI computers because the graphics could not be handled by the Genesis for the Genesis version. Maybe that's why the game has nowhere near as many colors and detailed graphics as Donkey Kong. However, even that explanation doesn't seem plausible because Disney would have to be insane to pass up the chance of creating another Donkey Kong Country. Besides, the Genesis version and the Super NES version don't have to be exactly the same, so what's the big deal? Disney certainly has the money to make another Donkey Kong Country, but unfortunately, they blew it. For once, we have something good to say about a game. Acclaim Sports has put their 2 cents worth into the Virtual Baseball League. All-Star Baseball 99 is loaded with features. Soon, all sports video games will have the real faces of the players. EX Plus is the best Street Fighter game ever made. The Lost World is neat in that you can eat animal or human carcasses to replenish your health. This has got to be a first for video games, disgusting as it is. Eating the dead doesn't fill you up much though, so don't worry about this game turning you into a cannibal. Return to the roof, head left, enter one last duck, and prepare to meet the nasty landlady. She's a spook and a half, and she wants you off her property. It's okay to get scared here. This broad is deadly with a rifle.
First off, if this storyline is truly to reach epic levels, then I hope one of the lovers dies. From Shakespeare to The English Patient to Titanic, death has proven to be the most effective instrument of high romantic drama. We had a lot of fun creating 3 fat black ladies fighting 1 skinny white turd. You don't get to do that every day.
Illusion of Gaia, one of the best stories ever for a video game. Someone please turn this into a movie. Be forewarned, the pig sacrifice is a shocking dramatic twist. I've never seen such an endearing skeleton.
That's death. No need to take a breath.
I stand corrected. Gex, Enter the Gecko, is Gex's second Gex game. That will get you Gex-cited. Okay, enough Gexes, except for this one. Bubsy is one of the best action games ever created. The music is excellent and fits the game perfectly. Bubsy offers jokes, voices, flying, and swimming. What more could you want? If you said a sequel, then you'll get what you want in the upcoming Bubsy 2. Bottom line, easy to beat even without any passwords. And NBA Hang Time has more options than Rodman's hair has colors. Rush Hour is yet another racing game from Psygnosis. I wish I had a nickel for every time I've said, yet another racing game. Like any Doom game, Final Doom is invincible, indestructible, impossible, impenetrable. We're going to try to be clever for the rest of this review.
Kane will enjoy watching this one burn in hell.
Fred looks just like John Goodman. Things have changed somewhat since last time you were there. The weather is different, and an awkward silence fills the atmosphere, creating a sense of deadness. Within this mysterious planet, you will battle new life forms beyond your wildest nightmares. The journey to find the new hideout of your old foe, the mother brain, only begins. If you're wondering how plants grow so fast, the answer isn't miracle grow. It's simply because this is Fantasyland. Don't forget that. The little platforms shoot electric beams, so standing on them would be fatal, right? Wrong. The game is virtually what Windows is to DOS, a shell. If you're facing just slightly away from an object, you can't touch, use, pick up, climb on, or operate it, even though it's right in front of you. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Super Mario 64 wins by a close call. It's more visual and immersive than Resident Evil. Jurassic Park 2. Critics weren't overwhelmed, but we think this is a great game. Excellent musical scores, and these aren't even from the movie. Spielberg should get off his tuchus and film that long-rumored movie sequel. Do you like cheese, folks? Well, that's what you'll get in Mario's Tennis. Cheesiness. So you're wondering, why are we pairing up The Lost World with Steel Rain? Well, that's because our review of Steel Rain is only a few sentences long. Never have we had such a short review. Obviously, the reason the review is so short is because this game stinks. Then again, it sucks. Then again, we've spent more time telling you how short the review is than actually reviewing the game itself. What can we say? We'll do about anything to avoid talking about this tanker, pun intended. All you do is run around and shoot things with 2 fire weapons, a turret, and one of those other tank things. Hey, I don't care what it is. I don't remember. I don't care. Oh, and there are a few dinky missions thrown in as well. This game is basically Ace Combat 2 on the ground, only with much worse graphics and play control. Anyone who defends this game has got to be off his or her rocker. Ugh, no more on that subject. Arrow the Acrobat is actually quite difficult unless you know the code, and that's hard to activate. Bubsy and Arrow are the year's best new characters. We must be getting soft in our old age. It's been a while since we've given really good reviews. If you like medieval themes and easy-to-learn control operations in your video games, you might like Cardinal Sin. But that's not all you'll have to like in order to live with this game. Now, we can truly say that turkey is the universal food. Bloody Roar has only 8 fighters, and static, dumb, stupid, boring, crappy, pathetic, silly, hardly there, uninspired, flat, dull endings. Don't let our just for the fun of it obnoxious list of redundant adjectives cloud your impression of the game. We're just being dumb, stupid, boring, crappy, pathetic, silly, hardly there, uninspired, flat, dull, and childish. Hey, there's a new one. Bloody Roar is a good game, but now I need to shut my bloody mouth. The rippling and the subtle undulations of the current are incredibly realistic. Banjo is destined to win some awards. Bust a Groove, Cyberdeck, and Brave Fencer Musashi. All these games have in common is the letter B. The similarities end there. Earthbound is the first RPG to be set in modern times. You save your progress by calling your dad over the telephone and refill your energy by eating pizza. Speaking of pizza, you can play the game with your left hand and eat pizza in the other. But don't forget to anticipate the angle of the dangle when the ball bounces off the wall. The animation is pathetic. Was this game made 5 years ago? Yuck, yuck, yuck. That's the problem. It's just okay. Konami has put some great products on the market, but this Contra is not one of them. One good thing about Contra is that it might mark Konami's full-force return to the gameplay arena. Maybe we're just delusional, but it seems like Konami has been making far fewer games than in the days of the Super NES. We want more Konami games, and of course, we can't wait for the Nintendo 64 Contra game. Come on, Konami, give us 64 bits of Contra. With Mario-ish camera angles, cinema scenes between every level, and planes, trains, and automobiles, we'll eat it up. The Wrecking Balls may look more like elastic pizza cutters than anything else, but who cares what they are? Let's face it, folks, no Donkey Kong game is as fun as the original Super Mario Bros. Was in its time. King of the Monsters 2 is not a great game. In fact, it may not even be a good game. Rare's logo just keeps getting better and better with each new game, and nothing tops it in Killer Instinct. Our grievances with War Gods are really no different than our grievances with most every fighting game. We don't know the fighters. They are not tangible characters. They are given no background, no story, no personality. Why then should we care about fighting with them? Who cares who wins or loses? Why does America keep falling for those games where all a company does is slap together some characters, slap together some combos, and slap together various settings? Fighting games are essentially cookie-cutter games. Only about 5 games have stood out from the crowd in the entire history of this genre. Granted, that's our opinion, but what else do you expect us to say? Mickey Mania, you've got to cheat to win. Unfortunately, with 7 characters, you'd think there were 7 endings, but alas, Saga Frontier is packed with 8 endings. The 8th ending is hidden, but we're willing to bet 2 air molecules that the hidden ending appears only after you have played through all 7 quests. Ah, the waterfalls of paradise. Wouldn't you love to have this view out your back door? Minus Joe the Caveman, that is. The game managed to provide effortless control of entire armies, divided into separate races. As if directed by Peter Jackson, the game featured the brutal slaughtering of mindless blue orcs and the genocidal drowning of hundreds of blood-red Uruk-hai. Actually, in truth, the game has nothing to do with The Lord of the Rings. The biggest controversy in video games of all time was centered around Mortal Kombat. Ironically, the movie was not criticized for violence. Ranker's energy meter will decline rapidly, and Jabba will soon be without his baby. Jabba will belch frogs. Remember when he ate them in the movie?
Self-destruct sequence has been initiated.
I didn't mean to do that. Crap, how are we gonna get out of this one?
5 seconds till self-destruct. 4, 3, 2,
Guys,
1.
I think we should take the time door.
Hey, that's a good idea. Let's go, quick. Self-destruct, self-destruct, self-destruct.
Good idea. Let's go.
1, 2, 3. Now! Whoa! Hey! Mommy!
Where are we going?
Whoa!
Wait a minute, we've done this before.
The space areas and explosions look so real. No wonder George Lucas is hell-bent on redoing Star Wars. Look how much better the effects could be. This game is awesome. Of even more significance is the way the Vikings kept us laughing through these tough spots. When you leave the game alone for a few minutes to plan your strategy, one of the characters will pick his nose, look at the booger, and express disgust. One question though, when on earth are they going to release Street Fighter 3? Can you say Dreamcast? Can we say wild speculation? Andros will be by far the most awesome villain you'll ever encounter in any video game. He will remind you of Stephen King's The Lawnmower Man, The Legend of Zelda. Not as good as the original for some unknown reason. Tried Ending Ceremony for all that hard work. Also available on PC, Discworld 2 is best described as a point-and-click full-motion video adventure. Kind of like Myst, but with humor. The cartoony element of Discworld may appeal to younger players, but this game is rated T for teens. Why? Sometimes the jokes get, well, sexual. Trust us, they're clean enough for your average red-blooded American. And just in case you're a Republican shifting nervously in your seat, we'll run one of the sex jokes at the end of this segment. Still, Toomba is an average game. Unless you can't resist pink hair, you might want to pass. Many items are not technically hidden, just laying in a spot that's out of view from your camera angle. Kudos to Konami for setting up Batman Returns so that we only see a good ending on harder difficulty levels. You cannot just beat the game on the easy mode and see a fabulous ending. All you will see is credits. The best ending results from winning the game on the Mania level. However, you need more continues and more lives to accomplish that mission. To give yourself 9 lives like Catwoman, highlight rest on the options screen. One by one, players will be sucked away into a fantastic fantasy world. That's what the N64 is all about. It's the ultimate fun machine. It'll take you on your own personal flights of fantasy. Heads up to game programmers. The answer to easy gameplay is not to make it impossible to beat. Acclaim needs to check the gameplay before they release a title. So you'll just have to wait till next year to see if a decent hockey title hits the N64. Please, somebody, make a worthy one before this fall. With analog or digital control, the game's dorky preteen character is about as easy to steer as it is to keep the Titanic from sinking.
You have failed me, Numian!
Cool. Whoa! It's a geyser! You're lifted in the air so fast that you're thrown right up on top of a very bad thing, a stegosaurus. Castlevania, Symphony of the Night. Although we found the game to be a disappointment, we couldn't help but be sucked into the game.
And Squall's face shows no character. He's over-idealized, and the emptiness he feels inside isn't quite captured in his eyes and facial expressions. Perhaps that will change.
We were expecting magic. We were expecting the best game in the world. We were expecting an interactive movie. But when you get right down to it, this game doesn't come much closer to this dream than does Final Fantasy III for the Super NES. The bugs are bugging him, which is ironic because the bugs are bugging a bug. When those dogs first jump out at you, you jump 3 feet high. If this were a movie, you'd wet your pants. For example, if you cross the river and enter a cave, then the game will show you a clip from the movie where you fly across the same river and hit a rock. Let's say it again. Hello? We already crossed the river. Who's been messing with the space-time continuum? Hello? McFly? Is anybody home? Good grief. The final blow will send him through the roof. Well, actually the floor. We haven't given a review this bad since, well, maybe never. But I don't think we've ever played a game this bad before. It seems Square is truly square. In the head. Blockheads. Okay, that's our weak attempt at a joke. FIFA features, that sounds funny. At some point, you'll be timed as you jump through the spinning propeller blades. Take some blood pressure medicine now. All we can say is, don't stand too close to those blades. The graphics, character animation, and big characters deliver hot action. Too bad you can't just barge in after hours. You have to be civilized in this game and perish the thought. Very interesting. You know something's up when this guy has a heart attack too. This can't be for real. What are the odds? Being X-Files graduates, we think it has something to do with implants. Young Merlin, one of the most unique games for the Super NES. Highly recommended. Critics should have embraced it more. Incredibly fun and captivating. Remember, ducks can't swim. Wait a minute, I'm thinking of flying. Of course they can swim. Prepare to visit several places. A clubhouse, arcade, burger shop, theater, Loch Ness Lake, dinosaur museum, hospital, drugstore, Stonehenge, a police station, library, a park, city hall, preschool, a bakery, laboratory, tents, caves, inns, a desert, a beach resort, grocery store, a snake shop, and Saturn Valley. Watch out for Master Belch. You may have smelled him before. Earthbound is the first RPG to be set in modern times. The movie scenes that advance the plot are separated with much too long periods of play. The name's Bond. James Bond. Secret of Mana. Warning! Play control can make you postal. Blathering about Parappa is pointless. The best way to get an idea of what the game is like is to just listen. Take it away, Parappa. Thunder Truck Rally is another PlayStation game that gets a big thumbs down. If you watch this show religiously, then you are familiar with the words, just another racing game. Well, we need not say more, but we will. Roadrunner's Death Valley Rally. Hilarious to watch. Great fun for kids. The only way to win is to cheat. Tasmania. Same deal, but with boring gameplay. Daffy Duck. Cute. But again, cheating spoils all the fun. Bugs Bunny. A must-have game. Very challenging. No big ways to cheat. Don't expect to win. As in Mario 64, Wave Race also suffers from being too short. The only two games worth a hill of beans are Legend of Valkyrie and Pac-Mania. The former is the first game to feature the famed female Icelandic warriors. Heck, it's probably the only game. With Pandemonium 2, the biggest change this time around is the main female character. Probably as a result of increased babe awareness in the video game industry, think Tomb Raider's Lara Croft, Nikki has undergone a complete makeover. She's much more, well, endowed. Yes, the trend is getting obnoxious, but this is only the beginning, folks. I wonder if there's a limit to the size of those things. I guess there's no limit to the imagination. If you think we're the ones who have the imagination, then you're mistaken. The knobs in question are noticeably bigger, and it's for a reason, to entice gamers. You can only tell the relative size in two places, though: the package design and the full-motion video sequences. The game itself depicts your character too small to see anything major. The thrill of competition, incredible morphing characters, panoramic backdrops, the best soundtrack ever in a video game. What are we talking about? There's only one answer: Killer Instinct. Pac-Mania is the best of the bunch. 3D Pac-Man on Legoland, or excuse me, the land formerly known as Lego. Hey, remember our Lego website story? Here's a peek at that. We are, of course, kidding once again. We hope that the upcoming Street Fighter II movie can live up to this example of Capcom quality. About that ending, when we saw it, we said, what ending? No fancy 3D graphics, just boring text that scrolls against a space backdrop, and a simple space backdrop at that. Was this a rush job or what? We'd like to take this opportunity to challenge game developers to turn this genre on its head and bring it to a level never seen before. We don't have the answer. We could always give advice if we were asked, but as long as games like these earn hordes of money, which they do, no one will have the incentive to change anything. Maybe we're just sticks in the mud, but I enjoy mud more than blood. Not that blood sickens me, but I just don't see the point of all this bloodshed. Give us a good reward for killing people, and maybe the game will be fun. Yep, that's called irony, so don't tell us that we're sick and sadistic. Be careful of what you step in. A dinosaur's feet are very sensitive, you know. One thing that isn't a must, however, is Myst itself. Sorry guys, but I've had enough of being mystified. And if I have to put up with one more groaning noise from the PlayStation as it very slowly switches screens, I'll freak out. The bosses are awesome. Their animation is just as good as a Disney cartoon. The Create a Wrestler feature is outstanding. So many choices are at your fingertips that we wish we could show you all of them. But that'd take 10 minutes. Skinny, fat, or in between. Underwear that's like a string. Hairy chest or doctor vest. Even mask that almost hiss. You try rhyming more than this. But there are flaws, we must admit. Here they are now, bit by bit. It just goes to show you there's a worm in every apple. Well, that's a little overstated. Hey, you make up your own analogy. The real feeling of nostalgia by remixing the original musical score. The sound effects seem unchanged though. We're not sure if that's good or bad. Puzzle games are just meant to tease the brain, but we still can't help but wonder why the cubes need to be zapped. Maybe we're plot crazy, but it'd be nice to know why the heck we're destroying rolling cubes of all things. The look of the game reminds us of Q*bert. We didn't like that, and we don't like this. It gets old in 5 minutes. The ghost house is also worth a visit, as you can scare those buttheads out of the window until you're blue in the face. Like the biscuit, I feel like taking a moment, so bear with me for a sec. Okay, thank you. If you don't get it, too bad. Watch more TV. The Toy Story movie was done with Silicon Graphics computers, and the instruction booklet says the game's graphics were created with the same 3D computer models that were used in the making of the blockbuster movie. We don't know, however, if the game actually used Silicon Graphics computers. If SGI computers were involved, we suspect they were only used for character animation, because the backgrounds do not have the detailed quality graphics of Donkey Kong Country. As any good devoted game player knows, Donkey Kong Country was created with Silicon Graphics computers and doesn't have edging problems. As you may know already, we changed our challenge rating of the game to a C, mainly because we beat it unexpectedly. Being the silly people that we are, we were kind of hoping to see mannequin piss in the background. Man, wouldn't that be cool? Hey, it's a true famous work of art. Why not? Anyway, no amount of urine can make this game viable. Super Mario 64 delivers Toy Story quality graphics, which makes you wonder why Hollywood hasn't made a computer-generated Mario movie yet. The XXX square 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 setup of moves is excellent, but the movement control is poor.
Freestyle board in 99. Cool, dude. Not.
The Lost Vikings, Eric, Olaf, and Balon, are the hippest characters ever to hit the 16-bit front. They might even be the video game version of the Three Stooges. Star Gladiator pulls it off with an obvious but welcome imitation of Star Wars. Many characters have striking resemblances to the epic series. Hayato wields what is undeniably some sort of lightsaber. Gammoth is a big Ewok, our favorite, most powerful character, and Bill Stein has an evil aura like that of Darth Vader. Other quasi-similarities are June, who may represent Princess Leia, Geralt, who looks a bit like Billy D. Williams, Vector, a beefed-up stormtrooper, Gore, an ugly guy with a big robe like the Emperor, and Saturn, a taller, greener, younger Yoda. Okay, maybe we're stretching it a little bit. The play control is proportional to the player's skills. Bad players will think the play control is poor, while good players will think the play control is good. Pitfall has 3 cool hidden codes. The first one lets you play the original 4-bit Atari 2600 Pitfall game. Yuck! Sony's Medieval is a pleasant surprise with its more humorous approach to the horror genre. You rob zombies of their souls, then use that collective energy to obtain enchanted items. all in an effort to overthrow some big, evil bad guy. Okay, it sounds stupid, but who cares? This is an action game. You might think we come down hard on Toy Story. Well, we admit we have. The game that was once the subject of censorship now lives on in a fresh new light with all the gory violence that is sure to scare the pants off Neanderthal politicians and overprotective parents. The game has more modes than Carter has pills. A competition mode, a half-pipe mode, a freestyle mode, a big air mode, a board park mode. Modes, modes, modes. What about a better game mode? Super Mario All-Stars, simply scrumptious. There's a quote from PSX Power on the back of the CD case that reads, "This is one of the most immersive games we have seen on the PlayStation." Well, at least one good thing can come from Tale of the Sun. We all know not to read PSX Power. Bottom line, when all is said and done, Toy Story has better gameplay than either of the Donkey Kong Country games. We have a full guide to this game, thanks to Psygnosis, but even the company's own walkthrough has flaws which we had to correct. Unfortunately, we won't be giving you a step-by-step guide because it's just too boring for television. And besides, we thought we'd just spoil it for you by rolling the ending. Here goes. No scantily clad babes can save this game from its low sales destiny, proving that males don't just think about one thing when buying a game. The stars aren't hard to find, but retrieving them without committing suicide in the process is a tall order. Super Mario World 2 is far better than the less than pleasing Super Mario World that was released back in 1991. Have Eric use the blue key in the blue keyhole by pressing A. Then he'll need to jump to the transporter while pressing A in midair to turn off the laser beam. Pretty scary, huh?
Gex needs to focus on more specific parodies in its levels to retain its originality. I'd rather see a Twin Peaks parody than just a parody of the horror genre. Just imagine the red curtains, zigzag floors, backward-talking dwarves, stiff coffee, endlessly repeating halls and rooms. If we could experience all this in a video game, I'd die and go to heaven. Gex 3 Decover Gecko is a good game, but next time the developers had better come up with some original ideas.
Jet Moto 2 is slightly better than Cool Borders 2. Can you tell? This is the year of the sequels. Watch this guy stomp that skyrise to the ground. Whew! This kind of ridiculous crap really slows down the game. Formulaic, cookie cutter, I'll get it done by Wednesday company quickies like this should be dissected for DNA comparison to dog crap. So if any game companies are listening out there, we'd be glad to help you make the world's best racing game. Just give us a call. Nothing like this seems to happen in the actual game. Then again, we didn't get far. Hint, hint. We stink at this game. It's a great concept, but it's not executed well enough to be accessible. Am I saying a bunch of hogwash? Maybe so. Maybe we're just stupid. This game just left our heads spinning, so let's get off the subject. Jersey Devil is one of the first games to make use of the new shock controller, Sony's answer to the Rumble Pack. The jolts are pathetic, but that makes no difference. This game will sell you anyway. The graphics are technically great. When you pop in this game, the first thing you notice is the poor edging on Woody. We think you'll be pleasantly surprised with the improvements in the sequel. You won't have women chasing after you like you do here, but you might get married if you play your cards right. But for now, these 4 determined cave babes are going to chase you home as we transfer our thoughts to another hairy hero, Bubsy the Bobcat. Look at that granny fly. The big shocker is that Disney Interactive was involved in the production. How could the makers of Jungle Book and Mickey Mania let this one slip through their fingers? There's just one weird thing about this village. Everyone has a big head. As we've said in the past, the real draw of Tomb Raider is not Lara Croft. The real star is the level design. Lara would have nothing to do but inflate herself if it wasn't for the extremely long, intricate, expansive, and amazing natural levels. They're simply a wonder. The storyline, which centers around an overgrown cave dude, a Porsche is way too expensive for my taste. Even if I had money coming out of my armpits, I wouldn't want to blow an extra $50,000 on a car just to make a fashion statement when I can get a car just as good for a quarter of the price. I should state that these are not my opinions. If you disagree with all this, yell at Tom Allen, who reviewed this game. 1080 Snowboarding is the best game on the Nintendo 64 so far this year. Disregarding full motion video, the game is better than Final Fantasy VII, though not as good as Wild Arms. Control is absolutely horrendous. We should say something worse, something that rhymes with tux. In fact, why should we stop now? This game sucks. Pac-Man 2 is without a doubt the best game ever for Pac-Man. We managed to clear a few courses, in last place of course. Overall, this game did not qualify for the medal rounds. By the way, CBS tried to pass off footage of this game as a computerized instant replay of the real-life athletes. You may be able to fool the average viewer, CBS, but not petty watchdogs like us, with nothing better to do than to watch that boring Olympic coverage. Before you can say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, you've completed an entire lap. Toy Story is too difficult, like The Lion King. Fortunately for you, though, we've discovered two awesome ways to cheat in Toy Story. Final Doom is just more of the same old Doom shoot-'em-up action that has spawned countless clones in the video game industry. The same Doom enemies that inhabited all the other Doom games of this Doom series are also in this Doom game. Doom it, we're sick of all these Doom bloody games with more Doom gunshots in 1 minute than we would otherwise hear in a lifetime. We're sick of all the Doom groans of the dead demons and the people you must shoot in the game. Doom it. These games make you Doom crazy, especially since they're so Doom hard. Normally, challenge is good, but not in this Doom game. Hardcore Doomers will be in Doom Nirvana. The game is actually 3 games in 1. Master levels from the internet, Plutonia, and TNT. All are extremely difficult. Hidden in the instruction booklet is a password that gives you all of the game's weapons. But even with that little, if you think that all these Dooms are bad, wait till you find out what BFG stands for. If Williams sees this segment, they will either A, laugh at all the Dooms, B, put us on their to-doom list, C, doom us to Hades, or D, not do one Doom thing. As far as Time Crisis is concerned, the game might as well be called Maximum Force 2. Bloody Roar is a juicy fighting game from Sony, which actually dares to be innovative. Imagine that! Bonus levels are accessed each time you beat 50 enemies, but don't kill yourself trying to earn the bonus. Remember, the priority here is beating the game, and you probably won't. Bottom line, a good game, but not very high on anyone's priority list. The Lemmings are back, in Lemmings and oh no more Lemmings. Unfortunately, the game includes no female snowboarders, and the Canadian snowboarder would have been a real treat, a lot more exciting than the incorporation of Tommy Hilfiger clothes. By the way, if I mispronounce the name, you can chalk it up to my age and pure apathy. We're not sure, but we suspect there are 14 worlds with 3 levels each. Novice players will find it virtually impossible to do well. Your mission is to terminate the aliens who have invaded a high-tech military base on Mars. Who knows how they got in? 9 million gala. Whoa, mama! Say it with me, show me the money. The control can be very uncooperative thanks to the poor analog control, which will give you an idea of what it's like to be walking a baby. Is this intentional? Maybe so. Is it annoying on occasion? Absolutely. Does it preclude you from enjoying the game? Absolutely not. Will you get sick of running into walls just because these kids can't walk right? Maybe, maybe not. You might get a kick out of it. Resident Evil 2 is definitely the devil of a game. Why does every game, with the exception of Ken Griffey Baseball for the N64, list the Baltimore Orioles Stadium as Baltimore Stadium? They have the correct name, so what's the deal? Are the Orioles so pig-headed about the use of Oriole Park at Camden Yards that they only let Nintendo use the name? In our opinion, that really stinks. The Nintendo 64 needs some stellar software. Do Doom 64 and Blast Corps fit the bill? Amazingly enough, we actually recommend both. Vortex, hey, it's Star Fox with wheels. Next, please.
Whoa!
Oh, wow! Ow! Boy!
Wish my head weren't so big. This forest looks familiar. Hey, it looks like we're home again. Here's Hilda's house. There's Brunhild. Hey, return! Hey, return! Our heroes! Wow! Woo! Hooray!
Whoopee! Eric, you're such a stud! Whoa! My hubby.
Give it a rest.
We've been to many strange and exciting places.
Flex your muscles, guys. Come on, we should show off what we've done.
But nowhere so beautiful as home.
Olaf, did you pick your nose again?
It was juicy. Look at that one.
Look what we brought back from the future.
Booger!
Hey guys, let's show them how us Vikings rumble.
A 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5.
This is gonna rock.
Bro, man. Yeah, I think we're pretty cool, guys. I think we deserve a sequel. Don't you think, Baylog?
Yeah, I think Silicon and Synapse should really get our butts in gear and get us moving again.
Yeah, let's do this again.
Yeah, but I don't want to have this guy as an enemy.
Yeah, I know. He was a dork. He annoyed me in the Egyptian levels.
Yeah, you really pounced him good.
Well, thank you, Baylog. I just hope we aren't... Oh, wait a minute. Who's that old fart?
Hey, get him out of here.
Get
He's not
lost.
one of us.
Loser.
He better not take our place in the sequel.
This is the fighting game for the impatient gamer. Nothing seems to be wrong. The best feature is being able to choose a different fighter after you die and continue. This game is perfect, and although it's too late to make an April Fool's joke, we just made one anyway. Come on! Did you really expect us not to say something bad? Like all Bart games, the key to success is practice. The game is full of really cool features. The right cut of the grass? That's really neat.
Space fighters are really getting old. I'm sick of endless chases and endless shooting. It's time for a new genre.
This shield can be damaged by crashing into walls or from enemy attacks. Wipeout XL is ridiculously short, only 6 known levels. That's over $8 a level. Jeez, 6 levels. Okay, turn off the tisk-tisk mechanism in your brain. It was a joke, a bad one. The gameplay levels truly follow the plot of the movie. Beginning at Jabba's place on Tatooine and ending with a Millennium Falcon, we had to really think hard to come up with some negative points. In fact, only 2 come to mind. First is the sometimes uncooperative camera. Second is the character voices. These distinctive mumbles are as annoying as the crying baby Mario in Super Mario World 2. Whether it's grunts or squeaks or chirps, each character's calling card will make you want to avoid all conversations. Resident Evil 2 has the same gameplay as the original. In that respect, the game's a disappointment. The Big C has also released Buster Brothers Collection for the PlayStation. This blast from the past is, well, not worth busting your butt to get. Get it? Buster Brothers. Bust your butt? Oh well. You know how we love lame humor. These next 2 hints are stupid. And the cars look so cool you want to run right out and buy a Porsche. Nah. Now for a stellar game, Klonoa. The full motion video is the complete opposite of dumb, stupid, boring, crappy, pathetic, silly, hardly there, uninspired, flat, dull, and childish. Well, childish may apply, but in a good sense. You'll want to keep playing just to find out what those secret characters look like. An Elvis impersonator? Come on, we'd like to see that. But like the real Elvis, he's hard to find. When you come to some sort of pulley mechanism, you need to add weight to the left side to raise the right side so you can pass. 1 pig isn't enough to raise the right side, so be sure to use 2 pigs in your endeavors. This is one time when lard really comes in handy.
You can't even walk and punch at the same time. This game gets a nice fat KO.
The only real reason Cool Borders was even made is to reel in all those college-age skiers. Skiing is very popular with that crowd, and the game comes out just as college kids are getting their semester break. Perfect timing. Many of you out there will disagree, but we give MK3 a thumbs down. Experienced players will get too far too fast, and beating the game on hard is near impossible without Galoob's Game Genie, which can give you unlimited lives. This results when you're not in rhythm, but I tell you I was in rhythm. I can keep a beat. Batman forever. Hello? Where's the gameplay? Crash is, ironically, quite similar to Mario. Question mark blocks appear everywhere in the game. Common enemies include piranha plants and turtles. This is too much to be a coincidence. It's probably a nice little slap in the face to Nintendo, and if you've seen the Crash Bandicoot commercials, you'd probably agree. The slap is all in good fun, though. Sony has aggressively marketed its possible new mascot, but very tastefully. We've always wanted Nintendo to be just as dynamic, but their ads are like sticks in the mud. This guy's a kook. He loves to throw chemicals. He's a tough nut to beat, literally. If you've ever been knocked senseless in battle, with stars circling your head, press various attack buttons like crazy. Talking to people about a variety of things is tedious, and you'd have to be a psychic to know what you're supposed to ask each person. Wake up, America. Do you see any spectacular graphics here? Do the stars look strikingly real? Do the ships look strikingly real? How can anything be very exciting when most of the screen is black, for crying out loud? Granted, the game is so impossible we could only crack a few levels, but still, this is space we're talking about. Perhaps the zealous critics who like Colony Wars are still caught up in Star Wars mania. I don't know. Lord knows what's going on in people's minds. Same time as Mario 64, but it has had nowhere near the sales figures. Flying games generally don't appeal much to us either, but we still kept an open mind and gave this game a chance. The problem is that the game doesn't give us much of a chance to like it. The graphics are impressive, but you don't buy games for the graphics. From the very beginning, Pilot Wings is slow going. The real surprise about this game is that Daffy Duck got his own game before Bugs Bunny. Daffy has been known to be jealous of Bugs Bunny's popularity, so he's probably flattered at all the attention. Bottom line, this game is a must-have. Period. Incredible fun. You'll love this game dearly. Your game heart will beat because of it. The play control is okay, but feels too tight. Strange, considering that most of the time when there's a problem with play control in a game, it's because it's too loose. At any rate, you have to give credit to a game that lets you get hit by a car and land on the car's roof. Now that's funny. It's so awesome when you jump way high into the sky and come crashing down on your enemy. No other fighting game we've seen has that cool feature. Imagine yourself playing a video game with Dolby surround sound. With Jurassic Park, you don't have to. Saga Frontier is probably the most non-linear role-playing game of all time. This is not good. Star Fox looks like butter. You can almost feel the controller in your hands from just watching it. KI features fully rendered graphics that make all the characters, special effects, backgrounds, and video sequences look like butter. Smooth and yummy. The graphics are so hot you want to eat them up. KI Gold is rated T for teens, and rightly so. Remember our report on video game violence? Too bad we didn't have some footage of this little baby. The 3D graphic realism of KI makes the violence that much more noticeable. Just look at how Tusk just whacks this person to death with his sword. Ouch. Who the heck is Booster? Who knows? When you reach the evil Rancor, Jabba's pet, you'll die. Hey, that's life. Ouch! It hurts when the Empire strikes back. We would go as far to say that Star Gladiator is the best street fighting game ever made. Why then is Rugrats, one of our favorites this week, the proud recipient of 2 E's? To be sure, it's got to be one of the weirdest events ever in the history of our ratings. Overall, Rugrats is an A game, but the sloppy control gets an E, as does the difficulty level, if there is one. We feel bad giving the E's, but they are deserved. Sony definitely has a bug up its you-know-what. Now it's Street Fighter II Collection. Guess what? It's a collection of various versions of Street Fighter II. Gee, you never would have guessed. Look at that. Fantastic. Parasite Eve is like a cross between Christmas Eve and Armageddon. One of the best parts of the entire game is the fight in the arena. Like most events in Evermore, you get caught in this mess by a stroke of bad luck. It's funny when the crowd throws food at you. These moments are always good for the ego. Maybe we're just grouchy, but we're tired of games where you have to build experience and collect mucho items. Yeah, that's most adventure games, but it's about time for some change in gameplay. Thank goodness the Nintendo 64 is coming to help push the envelope of gameplay. Role-playing games will benefit the most from the Nintendo 64. Maybe they'll become true interactive movies. Star Wars for the N64 looks hot, as expected, but the theme music in the game needs work. The melody's the same as the movie, but it sounds different. We want the actual classical musical score, not a video game derivative of it. Come on! Wave Race looks spectacular, but uninspiring. Now, there's a paradox if I've ever heard one. Sorry guys, but this game sucks. And not because it's unplayable, but because we've seen this 15 million times before. In other Star Wars news, you can expect next year's Shadow of the Empire for the Ultra 64 to be one of the best games ever made. With the DualShock controller, you will actually feel his heart attack.
The game has 2 big problems. First, you have to reset the game to change characters.
The graphics have the quality of caveman carvings. Yes, we are aware of the irony that the game is about a caveman. Now get out there and start leasing that Porsche so we can get our commission. Just kidding. Fans of role-playing games don't always get what they want, but Namco is here to help with Tales of Destiny. This is the most traditional RPG we've seen in a long time. It's as if the Super NES has been resurrected. Speaking of action figures, take a look at this one. It's a takeoff of Blanca from Street Fighter II. Also notice the similarities to other Street Fighter characters on the package design. Aha! We caught these guys ripping off Capcom. Anyway, let's get back to Toy Story. King of the Monsters 2. 4 words, not worth a dime. Addams Family, the secret password destroys the challenge. Some games really tick you off from time to time. Super Mario RPG is one of them. In one section of the game, you have to climb vines to reach Nimbus Land, which is floating high in the sky. Our game guy Tom Allen was so mad, he almost broke his controller in half. The play control in this area is awful, especially this jump right here. He's still trying to make this jump without falling. We'll have the ending to this otherwise fun game on a future episode, so keep watching the show for more coverage of that famous mustachioed plumber. Einhander. Yes, the name is weird, but you'll like the game. This title could very well be the best shooter ever made. While not as fun as Star Fox 64, Einhander can certainly compete on a technical and creative level. Violence in video games is not a problem for the majority of people, but that doesn't mean we should ignore the issue. It's up to parents to monitor the games their younger kids play, just as they would monitor whether or not their kids see PG-13 movies. Games are rated nowadays, and even if they weren't rated, parents could still tell which games are violent. It's called looking at the back of the box, or just reading the title. Killer Instinct, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. Come on, folks, it couldn't be more obvious. Before even looking at Tobal, we anxiously and excitedly booted up the PlayStation to play the Final Fantasy demo. What a disappointment. Final Fight 3, more monotonous punching and kicking. Speaking of monotonous, so is this segment. Let's kill it. I hope you have a great Christmas. We'll leave you with Titanic. I'll see you next year.